But talking to my very good friend, Fast Lou Fossarelli out of Haverhill and currently in a secret location in New Hampshire, the Secret Service scandal, we both agree, and Lou's a former cop and a Vietnam vet, that this scandal was going to show to be a lot longer. It wasn't just a one-time thing. This is an institutionalized thing. And sure enough, here come stories go back to 2002 Olympics that I was a part of, actually. Not the scandal, but I was working in security privately, helping the Olympic Committee there. And so we're going to see this. We're going to see that this was not a one-time incident. And we're also going to see, people should pay attention as to the fact that it's not boys will be boys. When anybody, but any government, anybody participates in prostitution, what you're lending yourself to is an entire criminal conspiracy of not just the sex act that you're paying for, but what's behind it, which is criminalization, which is sex slaves, which is trafficking in kids, on and on and on. And Fox had this really fabulous guest on, and somebody sent me this sketch of her. I was very impressed with not only her background, and we're going to have her as a guest in a second. I called her and talked to her and convinced her to come on the show. And her name is Laurie Handrahan, and she's a PhD. She teaches at American University. This woman has a PhD from London School of Economics. She's her background is unbelievable. She served as UN consultant for UN, FPA, UNDP, the OCHA, UNHCR, UNICEF. She was UNHCR's first gender expert in emergency operations in Chad, Darfur, the Balkans. She speaks 3 languages, English, French, and Russian. I told her we had to do the thing in English because I can't do the others. She's a published author. Her first book was Gender Ethnicity, was published in 2001. She's been on Fox, CNN, CTV. She's written op-eds in the New York Times and the Christian Science Monitor. And as I said, she's a PhD from London School of Economics. Laurie, how you doing? Did I do that introduction enough?
Well, yeah, it's way more than enough. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah.
I'm honored to be on.
Yeah, no, thanks for doing it. You were on Fox talking about the Secret Service scandal and your take of it. And rather than talk for you, because you do a better job in 3 different languages, what's your take on this scandal?
Well, I think you did an excellent lead-in. I think that, and I'm so thrilled that so many commentators are picking up on this. This is not boys will be boys,
nope.
And this is not something that can be excused. And I think that the reason the story is playing out is because President Obama is failing in his leadership role on this. He's marginalizing it and saying this is just a bunch of knuckleheads. It's far, far more than that.
Well, okay, so, and I'm talking to Dr. Handrahan, Laurie Handrahan, a professor at American University. Okay, push back. I'm going to push back a minute. So if there's problems at IBM at mid-level, I'm not going to push back. Actually, I agree with the leadership aspect of this. But you think how is the president responsible for an idiot GS-13 doing what he did?
Because it's widespread. It's a breach of national security. It's probably, in my opinion, it's one of the most unpatriotic acts that anyone can do.
Why? Why is it unpatriotic?
Well, because you are representing the American government,
yep.
And you are protecting our most valuable asset, which is the U.S. president. And it's not a political issue. It's nonpartisan or it's bipartisan. It doesn't matter who's in the office. There's an office of the president, and we should all respect that because our national security and our security as individuals in this country is based on our president being safe and secure, particularly when he's abroad, particularly when he's in countries like Colombia, which is a known hub of major organized crime, trafficking, guns, violence, you name it. So when you have senior-level government officials out there procuring prostitutes, so who do you procure prostitutes from? It's not the local ice cream man, right? I mean, the people that sell women are organized crime. So you've now exposed...
But Laurie, it's legalized in Cartagena.
Yeah,
prostitution is legal.
Sure. Colonel Hunt, I just talked to a print journalist who called me about this, said the same thing, right? So I said, okay, so the president's in Amsterdam, and it's legalized to get high out of your mind. So the entire Secret Service, the top people, just before the presidents come, can go get stoned out of their gourd because it's legal?
This
is
why.
Okay?
This is why I should never have a guest on that's smarter than me. I'm talking to Dr. Lori Handrahan from American University. Okay, but you are really pissed about this one. What bothers? I mean, is it just the fact that men were paying for sex? What else? Because I've mentioned there's other things involved in the people who run prostitution, like trafficking. But what else gets to you about this?
Well, I think they've said Congressman Issa and there's apparently a local investigation too. They want to know if any of these women were underage, and so far the word is apparently they're not, but honestly I'd love to go down and do my own investigation, because what we know, not all men buy sex, and there's a lot of incredible men, particularly people who serve our country well, who are appalled by this kind of behavior. So the brush shouldn't tar every male military or
I didn't catch that you were, but you really went after on Fox and here now that it's because it's so widespread, therefore it's not just the Secret Service or Treasury Department or Department of Homeland Security. You're going into the White House with this. So
I mean, but this is what this is what the print journalist had said to me. What we know about men who think it's okay to buy sex is that when they buy sex, they want sex as young as they can get it. So they want the prostitutes as young. You don't go buy a 42-year-old woman, right? I mean, if you can get an 18-year-old, a 16-year-old. So given the conduct that we know about how these men conducted themselves, even with the payment, which was just appalling in and of itself, do you think that these guys actually said, let me see your passport and make sure you're over 18? And do you really have any confidence that took place? So then you're talking about trafficked children, right?
Yes.
So, that's just a whole different level.
But you're suggesting that either they paid for sex for with young girls, which is reprehensible in itself, but that I'm thinking that the organization who runs the prostitution ring is also trafficking in slavery, young kids, et cetera. I think the Secret Service guys when they participate in that ring, are supporting those other activities.
Of course they are. I mean,
that's my outrage.
Right. Colonel, I completely agree with you. I mean, you have the president, you have the Secret Service agents who are mandated to protect the president, and then you've got on the other side some guy who's running women, who procured women for these. That's not a savory person. That's not somebody.
No, it's a criminal. It's an ass. Somebody needs to go to jail. I'm talking to Dr. Lori Handrahan from American University, who's kind of spent some time with us at 877-469-4322 if you want to join in. When you were on with Brother Hunt at Fox, who's British and therefore no relation, of course, but what I was impressed is that you felt that the culture between Obama and the agent in Cartagena was direct. I mean, and that's because of his. Well, I don't want to speak for you. I mean, what about the responsibility, for example, of the director of Homeland Security or the guy that runs the Secret Service?
Yeah. First, I mean, the head of the Secret Service needs to go immediately. That's what happens when you're the boss. You take the fall for something like this. There's a culture.
I got it.
There's a cultural problem. So the guidelines they come out with, Colonel, is now we need babysitters for G13, 14, our most elite.
They're called
Secret
chaperones.
Yeah, we need babysitters for them. I mean, honest to God, if we need babysitters for these guys, they shouldn't be doing that job.
Okay. What we're finding, though, with other stories that have come in, is that this is going back to at least 2002. I mean, that's the Olympics. I think, the Winter Olympics in Utah. And my contention is that this is not just the last 3 years of the Obama administration.
No.
That this has gone on. This seeps in from baby agent just out of the academy to supervisor.
That's right.
That's that's 10 to 15 years of time that they thought it was okay to do this.
That's right.
But I want him outed, not just for the things you've just said, which is the disrespect, the criminality, the stupidity of arguing in a hallway over. It's all unbelievable. Right. But listeners need to understand that our government, because that's who they represent, are supporting people who traffic not just in prostitution, but the stealing of kids and young women and selling them.
Yes.
Selling them not just in Cartagena, but across the world.
That's right. And if you link, I mean, to me, what
That's
this signals is this is a wake-up call for President Obama, and it's also an opportunity for him to take fantastic leadership, which so far he hasn't done.
nobody's touching this.
Right. But it's also across every agency, which is what I wrote about in the op-ed in Fox, and I'm very grateful that Fox was willing to open the national dialogue on
Yeah,
this.
congratulations. Yeah, what happened? Where'd you get this done? Where? Was it Fox
Huffington
News?
and then Fox. Yeah, Fox News, Fox opinion piece. They were lovely. And
Did you write in English or Russian? What did you write?
Yeah, no, my Russian's not so good.
All right.
In English.
All right.
But it is, if you look at every government agency, so I don't have the exact stats. I've applied for a Google research grant to see if I can actually get the numbers. But you just do a very anecdotal Google search, and you type in any government agency that you want, and then you type in arrested for child porn, and you start to see so many of our government employees.
Do you got anything against the Secret Service?
Oh, I'm incredibly respectful.
Yeah. By the way,
Service.
just so the listeners, I'm going to get Charlie's going to want to talk to you in a minute, but just so we understand that I didn't read them all. But Dr. Handrahan was in the Balkans at the same time I was, and guys with guns had trouble, let alone women in the Balkans and all the other places. I mentioned Chad and a couple other places. So Dr. Handrahan is not some anti-guy sitting down at American University throwing stuff against the wall. I just want people to understand that.
In fact, Colonel, I said in my Huffington Post piece, here I was sort of pondering the semester, and there I am encouraging my students to join the Secret Service and the FBI and the CIA and help fight organized crime. And the number one issue among my students, the undergrads and the grads, most people are interested in is working on the ending trafficking of children. They're very interested. The students are very interested in getting
You and I both
involved
know where that has to stop. That's government supporting it.
Right.
That's not the individual crimes, which is bad enough. That's governments, Thailand, Sudan, Russia, a lot of places that are supporting that, getting money from it.
Right.
Yeah. Do you want to take some calls,
Sure.
Lori? Yeah. Hey, Charlie, you're on with Dave Hunt. More importantly, Dr. Lori Handrahan. Go ahead, Charlie.
Yeah. Hi, both of you. Hi, Doctor. I listen to you. You're a real fireball. You've got a lot of energy, and you're real passionate about the subject. But when I think what you're saying, I realize our government has been turning a blind eye to an awful lot of things that have been going on in history.
Amen,
the drug
Charlie.
trade.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
No, you're right. Keep going.
The drug trade. There's a lot of people in our government that are involved directly with children, sex children. They travel all over the world. They have the opportunity to do anything they want. And this is just a little page that was turned on the Secret Service. But our government, it's got some dirty hands.
Well, I mean, Charlie, I think you're right. There's an incredible amount of men and women who have dedicated their lives to protecting and serving this country, and I have incredible respect for them. And I'm part of the School of International Service, and we believe in service of all different levels: humanitarian service, military service, government service. The problem is, why are the bad people who are hurting our national security, hurting our patriotism, who are involved with the U.S. government doing child porn from their work computers, why are they being allowed to get away with it? I think that's the real question. Where's the oversight here? And that's a leadership issue. So and this is not a right-wing conspiracy theory. I mean, the Wall Street Journal just came out with a fantastic article today by Professor Paul Light from NYU. Yeah. It's called Perp Walks and the Broken Bureaucracy, and he just says the same thing. This thing with Secret Service and the GSA, this is just the tip of the iceberg, and we've been talking about this for a long time, and President Obama needs to take leadership on it. In fact, Paul Light had written an open letter to both presidential candidates back in 2008 saying, you must deal with the problem of our government employees who are corrupt being allowed to get away with that corruption, because I think it's the biggest risk to our national security right now.
Charlie, thanks for your call. Thanks. Hey, Barbara, you're on with Dave Hunt and Dr. Lori Handrahan. Go ahead, Barbara.
Hi there.
Hi.
Hey, I remember about a month before this all broke that there was also an article about the Obama's youngest daughter going on down to Mexico with an entourage of, I want to say, like 10 or 11 little other 13-year-old girls, and they went with 22 Secret Service. And I can only imagine the reaction of their parents a month later, hearing this story break, knowing that the people that were down there protecting their little girls, never mind the President of the United States, but to imagine that you couldn't even entrust your 13-year-old daughter in the care of these people because there's such an unfortunate atmosphere of people going on doing these very bad things in front of their own little girls, or at night at least.
Yeah, but Barbara and Lori, okay, where's the outrage? I got, first of all, Lori was on Fox, intelligently outraged. You're calling in, Barbara, outraged. But I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing the press. I'm not seeing the news. Why is this too titillating? Is this too gross? Why don't we care about this? I don't get it, Lori. I don't get what's.
I think that there's an enormous amount of cognitive dissonance and denial when you start to talk about child porn. People just don't want to go there. They don't want to believe that we have a crisis level right now. They don't want to believe that government employees at senior levels, like the ICE guy in Miami that just got picked up.
Yep.
I mean, this happened under President Bush too. There was a senior guy from Homeland Security who was soliciting a child online, and one of the best guys in the country. I just want to give a shout out to the sheriff from Polk County, Florida, Gary Judd. Sheriff Judd is one of the best guys in the country for taking down child pedophiles. And this guy was Brian Doyle, and he was the deputy press secretary for Homeland Security under Bush. So it's bipartisan problem, but the problem is President Obama is the leader of our country right now. The Secret Service scandal has provoked outrage. It's going to get bigger. It's not going to go away. And the more that the White House just tries to deny this and cover it up, I think the more outraged people will get.
Yeah, Barbara, thanks for your call. To me though, there seems to be a reluctance, Lori, of the reaction. We don't have across the board coverage of the major networks. Fox did it. The unfortunate thing is if MSNBC covers something, we assume it's for Obama. If Fox covers something, we assume it's against Obama. What I'm looking for is CNN and ABC and NBC. This is outrageous. I mean, it's not just the size of the scandal of 20 plus guys and by the way 10 people from the Department of Defense.
Right.
With serious. I mean, it's what's behind the young woman at the bar. What people are maybe not hearing me. The guy who's running this woman behind the bar, the women behind the bar, for whatever the money was, is also stealing kids and selling them cross borders for one thing. Sex, and vile for the rest of their life, destroy her life, sex, and the Secret Service agent just participated in it.
That's right, yeah.
And I don't get why that is not, I mean, anyways.
Well, and Colonel Fox, 10% of our global GDP is organized crime. I mean, that World Bank statistic has been haunting me all semester. We read it at the beginning of semester in my security and development graduate class, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, I think it's such an incredible national security risk, and it's just going by everybody. Nobody's catching it.
Yeah, but I think it's going by. My point is, I think it's going by because the press is letting it. And we're very focused on presidential politics and all that stuff and trips to Afghanistan. But this is systemic. And this has been going on for a long, long time. And the fact that we got the tip of the spear, the advanced team for the President of the United States, conducting themselves this way is staggering.
Well, absolutely. And then if you get into presidential politics and the election cycle, so there's this, where's the woman's vote going, right? So, I mean, the thing that I would say...
But I'm not hearing the women's vote screaming. That's my point.
That's exactly right.
I'm not hearing the scream.
That's right.
Which should be, Joe, you're on with Dave Hunt, and more importantly, Dr. Lori Handrahan. Go ahead, Joe.
Hey, guys, how you doing?
Hi.
Hey,
Hey, Joe.
I'll tell you, the people that should be screaming here are the government employees like myself who are constantly getting kicked in the head by these people out there making jackasses of themselves, right? There's some good people that work for the
best, Joe. Nobody's damning all government workers.
Absolutely.
Oh, I know it, but you know, they go out there, they do these things, just like the active duty military guys. Something bad happens, and it's the whole military that looks bad.
Yeah, but okay,
it's the whole government that looks bad.
No, Joe.
No,
and Lori's not saying. I'm not saying that. I didn't mean it.
I think, Joe, I totally agree with you. I mean, look, our communities, those of us who take pride in what we do and who believe in service, when a member of our community does something this unpatriotic and this damning to our national security, of course, it's going to hurt. It hurts us.
Joe, who do you work for?
It hurts your heart, you know.
It sure does.
Joe, what do you do in the government? Generally,
I work for the Department of the Navy.
Okay, one guy in the Department of the Navy makes a mistake. That doesn't make it bad for the whole Department of the Navy.
Absolutely not.
Look, and thank you for this.
I know that I hold myself to a higher standard, and I know that the people that I have always worked for my entire adult life have always held me to a higher standard. Yeah, and I don't understand how these people.
That's right.
Because it's a culture. What Lori's saying and I'm saying, because it's a cultural issue inside the Secret Service that's been allowed to fester for, I'm going to say over 20 years, but let's make it easy and just say 10. Because there were supervisors involved in this. I mean, it doesn't matter. These are college-educated people who went through training and standards of conduct who couldn't keep it in their pants for a week in Cartagena. I got. Let me show you how bad this is, Lori. I got a texter 774 that says this: Colonel prostitutes. Then he swears. Can you prove that the pimp they hired run kids? Yeah, actually, I can. 774.
I'll tell you what, Colonel. You and I go down to Columbia and let's do our own investigation.
I mean, are you kidding me? Can you imagine somebody? I mean, they're actually thinking that the pimp, the organized crime in Cartagena is just doing 18 plus women. Are you nuts?
Right. We got to keep it legal here. Let's make sure we don't get anyone over 18. Yeah.
No. That's what you're up against. That's what we're up against.
That's right. Can I just thank Joe for his service? I just want to thank
Joe,
him for
thanks,
his
buddy.
service. And I share, I share his hurt. I think, they say all anger is just pain. This is a painful subject, and people don't like to deal with painful subjects.
I think
people is covering it.
Lori, I think people still don't believe it. I think they hear Secret Service and they conjure up, which I think are right, heroic men and women who will take a bullet for the President of the United States. And at first, because of the way it was covered, it really was, oh, boys will be boys. Mm-hmm. And when I saw what you said on Fox, I said, oh, wait a minute. Of course it's bigger than this. Yeah. And so, David, you're on with Dave Hunt, Howie Carr, more importantly, Dr. Lori Handrahan. Go ahead, David.
Hi, thanks for taking my call. Glad to listen to both of you. My question is, I know it's been not only in the government service, but in the White House. I mean, it goes back to JFK. I mean, we found out long afterwards, what he did. But Bill Clinton, I think he started that whole thing with Monica Lewinsky. What's your feeling towards that, Doctor? I think that falls into the same line as what we're talking about.
Oh, David, I couldn't agree with you more. I think it's a great question and a great thing to bring up. I mean, I've been a liberal Democrat my whole life. I've actually just registered as an independent for the first time. But, that was an intern, and he was the president, and it's sexual abuse and exploitation. A normal person can't sleep with an intern and get away with it. It is, and using prostitutes is sexual abuse and exploitation. And, when you put your hand on the Bible and you lie before Congress, you've lost me as a voter. You just have. And that to me, it's not party politics. That's just, that's ethics and moral. And I was appalled.
David, thanks for your call. Lori, I hope you can stay with us because you get a lot of people want to talk to you, and which is great. And we have to take a break to pay for. We'll be right back with Dr. Handrahan. I'm Dave Hunt, Howie Carr. Eight 877-469-4322. That's 877-469-4322. That's the toll-free number to this, the Howie Carr Show, the number one show in New England. Thank you very much. Jump line 617-779-3469. In fact, 617-779-3467. Every once in a while, when you guest host, you get to have, and I've said this before, you get to have guests that Howie would normally get. And today is my lucky day. I got Dr. Lori Handrahan, who's besides speaking French and Russian, has got like 400 degrees. One of them is from the school. Sorry, it's impressive. School of Economics from London, and where she's been in the world, for all you hard asses out there, are places that grown men with guns don't go. And worked for some serious organizations. I got a great compliment for you, Lori. So I got this. 978 says, please tell Dr. Handrahan that my daughter is going to be a freshman where you are at AU. And if all the professors there are like you, it makes writing the tuition check easier. That's pretty cool.
Fantastic. Tell her to take my class. I'd love to see her if she wants to email me.
He's listening.
This summer.
They're listening. And we're talking about the Secret Service scandal, despite some of these texters who are not sentient beings at all. They don't understand what the point Dr. Henry is trying to make, and I've tried to make, is that if this is paying for prostitutes is in itself reprehensible because of what you're supporting. Mm-hmm. And for the government to be doing this, and I think that the call about that the Clintons' conduct, how far back this goes, we don't know, but I'm saying at least 10, maybe it's 20, that we've been turning a blind eye in the U.S. government to people who represent us, whether it's whether it's child pornography on their computers or actually paying for sex on a presidential advance trip has got to stop. Before we get to the callers, you're in charge of the government, Lori, what would you do? I mean, how would you fix this?
Well, the very first thing I would do would be to replace the head of the Secret Service with somebody who's going to make sure that
Yeah, but you got this into the White House.
Right. Well, yeah, then you need full investigations with all of the government oversight.
Who does the investigation, in your opinion?
You need the Inspector Generals to actually function right now because they're not functioning at all, right? So people are writing over and over again. I mean, I'll tell you, Colonel Hunt, one of the things that scares me the most, another journalist asked me this, they said, do you see President Obama failing in a leadership role in any of the other agencies? So June 25th, 2010, vote of no confidence by the National Council of Immigration Customs Enforcement.
And once again, aren't you a liberal?
Yeah.
So you and Arianna Huffington, you don't like this guy.
I'm like super liberal. I mean,
I know.
Completely to the left.
Yeah.
So 7,000 ICE officers and employees wrote a vote of no confidence in the presidential appointee John Martin, who's the director, John Morton, who's the director of Immigration Customs Enforcement and his assistant. And it says that they have abandoned the agency's core missions of enforcing United States immigration laws and providing for public safety, and have instead directed their attention to campaign for programs and policies related to amnesty. And it goes on, and it talks about, how unbelievable. When you have 7,000 employees of an agency issuing you, and you're the president, a vote of no confidence in the guy that you appointed, it's a no-brainer, Colonel. You yank that guy that day. You get that, right? I mean, it's a no-brainer.
I totally get that part. To me, though, if you're going to remove somebody, at whatever level, you've got to have somebody behind them, Lori, man or woman, who not only can replace that person, but fix
the problem.
The very reason you fired their predecessor. And what I'm seeing in the Secret Service and government in particular, they're throwing a couple of classes and a chaperone at this. They're not getting that their mid-level management, but at least the mid-level management, up to supervisor GS-17 is corrupt.
That's right.
And morally bankrupt. Anyways,
that's right.
Tom, thanks for waiting. You're on with Dr. Lori Handrahan and Dave Hunt for Howie Carr. Thanks, Tom.
How is everybody today?
I'm good, Tom. How you doing?
Hi, Tom.
Outstanding.
Thanks for calling.
Go ahead, Tom.
Thank you. Listen, I spent 21 years in the Navy, and I took an oath, and I still to this day believe in that oath. Now, the problem with our government, it starts at the top, and it goes all the way through Congress, all the way through. If these people cannot abide by the oaths they took to defend our country and the Constitution, they should be removed immediately. And if somebody else they hire cannot follow that same example, fire them too.
So,
Amen.
Tommy,
Absolutely.
so we fire everybody.
Exactly.
Then what? I mean, so you got to fire a lot of people, and I don't disagree with you.
Hey,
what do you do then?
Eventually, you're going to get some people in there that do believe in the Constitution and do love our country. And those that are there now, get rid of them.
Yeah. Tom, thank you so much for your service. I really honor and respect that, and especially somebody who honors their oath of office in the U.S. Constitution. I think part of the answer, what I see, my privilege is to be a professor because I get to hang out with these amazing young people. And this generation that's hitting the world, they're amazing. So, I mean, I think, you take some incredible American University graduates and some other young people. They take these issues very, very seriously. And you bring them into a system that's not corrupt, where they are allowed to blow the whistle when they see.
But, Laura, you got to get at their bosses. I get with professors like you, how you're educating young men and women trying to go into government. But you've got to get at 55 and 60-year-old, mostly white men, who don't believe this.
Yeah, who have total impunity.
No, they Tom, thanks for your call, by the way.
Thank you, Tom.
Here's the thought,
there's a
revolution.
This is a little radical.
No,
but this
please.
is where you get the anonymous movement. I mean, I think that the anonymous movement is creating a lot.
What's the anonymous movement?
Well, this group of, anybody can be anonymous, I gather. I mean, I can't speak for them. But they're the ones who are saying we're not going to tolerate this anymore. In the Occupy movement, there's the Occupy Marines, Occupy Navy.
Yeah, but
there's the Occupy Police.
But how does, but GS-15 Clarence Fathead, who participated in this scandal. These guys, people maybe don't understand. These are professional people who do advances for the President of the United States. They're in the White House. They're in all departments. and it's a big team.
Right.
It's a big team that hits the ground, and every one of these, and it's they account for every second, every step of the presidential party is covered.
That's right.
From a security standpoint, logistics, et cetera, et cetera. It's extremely serious. I've actually had to host an advanced team. That doesn't matter. I understand exactly what they do, and to their conduct. I'm not suggesting that men and women aren't going to have sex overseas. I'm suggesting you can't be involved in prostitution overseas.
Absolutely.
I'm not damning a Secret Service agent for having sex. I'm damning him for having paid for sex and not understand, and his supervisors, and not understand what's that supporting. It's not just that sex ring. It's not just, and the people, they're still texting and saying we're overreacting. And shame on you. You're not getting what's behind this.
Well, I would encourage them to read the World Bank 2011 Security and Development Report, where it talks about the global scope of organized crime and what an incredible security risk that is for us right now. I don't think it's terrorism and bin Laden, he's gone, and Al-Qaeda. I think it's organized crime. And
I think they're connected, Laurie. I think they're
Yeah.
connected.
Yeah,
organized crime and the terrorism business have been connected for a long time.
Well, probably, yeah.
No, they were.
You would know better than I would.
No, but they have been connected, and it's all money.
Yeah.
It's connected with money. Bob, you're on with Dave Hunt. More importantly, Dr. Laurie Handrahan. Go ahead, Bob.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi.
It's a pleasure to talk with both of you.
Thanks.
I just wanted to just sort of give some comments, general comments. I'm a 57-year-old white male, and maybe that might I know that's a shocker, but
Come on.
I just feel like sometimes I feel like I'm so old-fashioned that I can't believe all this stuff that's going on, and I'm not trying to sound, sanctimonious. It's just I find that a lot of the stuff that goes on, I work in federal service and have for 20 years, and I see that regardless of what the system is, whether it's the federal system or the scandal that's going on, this can't exist without enabling at different levels.
Right.
I don't care what there's no way that there's this trafficking or the whole issue with prostitutes and and it's a lack of accountability and just personal standards. Some of these people just make me sick.
So, Bob, thanks. I'm not jumping, Laurie. I don't know what we want to do about this. Laurie, see, there are people who are outraged, but for me, there has to be a revolution about this. There's a whole problem with when you got a system that supports supervisors and their guys. That allowed this to go on. I think we're going to have to take a break because we have to pay for it. We'll be right back. I'm Dave Hunt.